Headphone levels at 8 on mine, 7 on Raymond, 8 on Marqui.
Because they're deaf.
Yep. And we have Pluto on Netflix playing on the background. And yeah, we're going to get started. So we'll get the music intro just to help us prime and get ready. Hey guys, welcome to the Work Time Fun Podcast. I'm your co-Corel, and let's get started. On today's podcast, once again, we are with our guest co-host, and today we have
Raymond
and
Marqui.
All right, welcome fellas. How you guys doing?
Great.
I know.
Good.
Awesome. No, Raymond,
Sorry, I was in the middle of sipping a drink.
pounding a drink there, a little alcoholic beverage, if you don't mind, and
I requested an energy drink, and we got alcohol instead.
You have one too.
Yeah, but I'm not going to drink both.
Okay.
It's perfect. Anyways, awesome. I'm pounding down one too, so maybe we'll turn this into a drunk review. Who knows? Just kidding. So on today's podcast, we are going over Pluto on Netflix. It's an animated series, a Japanese anime, and it's closely related to the Astro Boy series, but it's definitely not the same story. It's kind of an offshoot, or how would you guys describe it as?
I think it's actually based off one of the stories in Astro Boy.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. That's a little bit something I can get into. It is based on a particular episode or a few episodes in the Astro Boy series, The World's Strongest Robot, or I forgot the exact title, but if you Google that, you could probably find out what that series is about. And that's exactly what this Pluto series is, or Pluto anime. And I'll just read a little bit of the synopsis here. When the world's 7 most advanced robots and their human allies are murdered one by one, Inspector Gesicht soon discovers that he's also in danger. It's created by Naoki Urasawa, based on an arc in Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy series.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. And I think we're focusing on episode 1, but for myself, I've actually watched the whole series. So I've watched all 8 episodes already. So it gets a little bit muddled. I'm going to try to remember only episode 1. So spoilers for anyone that's listening if you haven't seen the series yet for episode 1.
I only saw episode 1. I don't think I want spoilers.
Okay, so I have to keep that in mind. Marqui, how about you?
That's okay if it's an accident.
I got up to episode 6, but 6. 3 I'll be comfortable with.
Okay. All right. So forget Raymond. You got the
We'll spoil it for him.
Just kidding.
Try your best.
Yeah, try our best.
I won't get upset.
We'll try to keep it spoiler free past episode 1. So, all right. In this anime, I'll be honest, I had a hard time actually watching this. It felt very slow. It was a very slow burn for me. It's a murder mystery anime, and it just didn't have that much action right in the beginning or throughout. I get it. It's story building. It's building up to something that's becoming greater. But just this first episode didn't hook me. I don't know. How'd you guys feel about that?
Well, I just saw this before recording. I actually kind of liked the first episode. I didn't realize it would focus just on the piano player and his butler, his robot butler. I think they had to do this to kind of build the relationship before killing the robot at the end, I assume is what happened.
Yeah. But then you kind of have like 3 stories going on. In the beginning, you're just brought into like a forest fire that's happening, right?
Right.
And then you come up upon a scene where you see this head figure on the ground, and some guy yelling, Mont Blanc, my Mont Blanc.
It's the robot who was killed.
Right. Thanks, Raymond. Yes. And spoilers. Just kidding. We already established that.
That's established in the beginning.
Yep. That's the first, beginning of the episode. And then we're soon turned into seeing Gesicht, who is the investigator, Europol investigator, who is charged with figuring out what's going on with all these murders that's been happening. And then I guess the next scene is him getting into the murder scene for actually a scientist or the spokesperson who's actually like promoting stuff for robot equality or something like that, right?
Right. I kind of forgot the first half already.
I watched it in English dub with the English subtitles. I'm not sure if that makes any difference, but yeah. So I know it drags. It does follow that detective around trying to figure out what's going on first, but then and then like right after it, I think it goes right into the whole number 2, North number 2, and
North
then
number 2.
Yeah, that Duncan.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, it goes through that scene and then, the investigative part. And then actually in the beginning, I didn't know Gesicht. My background in this, I know nothing of Pluto.
Same.
The anime.
Same.
Or the manga, actually.
Or Astro Boy, right?
And it says it's loosely based on Astro Boy series, which honestly, I know of Astro Boy. You guys?
I do.
Oh, hold on. Prior to this, how much Astro Boy have you seen on TV?
None.
Same. How many pages of Astro Boy manga have you read?
None.
So it's a popular
experts.
character that we have zero knowledge of.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. That's the end of the podcast. So
No, but
just kidding.
For this podcast, I did watch some Astro Boy, so we'll get into that later if there's time.
But I think that's always the basis of how I made my podcast, though. We're not necessarily experts in all of this, but, we're like a general audience, and we're sharing how we feel like, okay, we don't exactly have the knowledge or expertise from knowing the source material, but then we're just giving, our feedback on how we think it is. And is it something that, you, the viewer, the audience, will actually want to watch as well? So I think that's my take on it and how I've always done it for these podcasts.
Well, I mean, Star Wars superheroes, I think you have some background knowledge of that stuff.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other thing. But anyways, so where were we? We're talking about Gesicht and then that whole like part of the episode that goes on. And then, it splits up. So you have that whole murder with Mont Blanc. Is it Mont Blanc? Not
Mont Blanc.
Mont Blanc, yeah. Swiss name. It's a Swiss background, I guess. It doesn't sound Swiss.
I have no idea.
Yeah. But anyways, that happens in Switzerland. Then Gesicht, that all happens in Germany. And then it's like for half of the episode, it does that. Then it kind of cuts out to another area. I almost got lost in that half, like when it switched from Gesicht to a whole other like old musician guy playing piano.
It's like a new story just started up.
Yeah, it just like kind of cuts and it goes to this guy playing piano. I'm like, what the heck? I thought I thought it changed episode. Like changed at least episodes. I think. I'm like, wait a minute, did it get on to the next episode? I was like, no, it's still episode 1. Mm. So it caught me by surprise a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it was all right because they
do connect at the end.
They do connect at the end. That's right. So, I mean, the whole North number 2 robot came in as a butler. So that was an interesting story bit. I'm not sure how in depth we want to go on this, and
it's the only episode I watched. So.
So it's okay. Yeah, we can spoil away episode 1.
We can spoil it.
So when it gets to that part, North number 2, I was getting a little bit confused too. Like, I guess, well, not confused, just only in the beginning, but as you kept watching, you understand that okay, it's this ex-war robot, and he just wanted to, not have to remember what he went through. So it's another robot. He went through some traumatic war experience, and he just wanted to learn how to play piano, man.
Yeah.
And a grumpy old man was so against it at first. It's like, you're a robot. You're never going to understand. You have no feelings. You're just a robot, right?
Yeah. It's like he's kind of like a robot racist or something.
Yeah, as it started off to be. And then, that whole story goes, and then they finally build that relationship. So that's kind of like, that kind of jumbled me up in the beginning, I guess. So I kind of had to actually rewatch the episode. So in honesty, I watched episode 1 maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
But I think that helped me get a better understanding of it. If anyone out there is thinking about watching this, it's first time around, it was tough because I kind of got lost and confused. Second time around, it's like, okay, well, let me try to focus. And then third time, it's like, all right, I get it. Then I kept going on with the series. And we'll stick to episode 1, so we'll just stick with that. But this reminds me of how I felt about Breaking Bad when I first watched it, that other TV series. that one's highly regarded as like one of the best TV shows, ever. And honestly, I had a tough time just starting out on that one. Like I watched episode 1 I seriously almost watched it 10 times before I actually like went through it and then enjoyed the whole series from then. So, have you guys watched Breaking Bad?
I haven't.
I have not. I've watched the prequel, the Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul?
Yeah. And I think that's also a slow burn.
So. Oh, yeah. I think that one took me, until season 2 or 3. Season 2, well, it only, 4 seasons?
What?
5?
No,
6.
One longer than Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So, by 5 or 6, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, that took me a season or 2 to get in. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So, in the same respect, I think that's what you can expect out of the Pluto series. It's a slow burn, but once you get like halfway through, then, it kind of picks up. So, that's just a little bit for you guys.
So, I like that whole second half. I think what they were trying to do, they were trying to make us sympathize with this North number 2 before they killed him off. Mm-hmm. And just sort of because there's also a scene before with it's like a woman robot and her husband died.
Oh yeah, that's from the first part. I mean,
yeah,
actually,
somewhere through the first part.
Yeah,
let's take it back. So we kind of jumbled up. I was just kind of just expressing how I felt about the first episode myself, and like how it kind of just threw me off when that happened. So, but we could start off from the beginning. So in the beginning, it's like, okay, got the fire in the forest and Mont Blanc, and then obviously it's just a mess everywhere. His head that's just on the ground with like 2 sticks that represent horns.
Yeah, they emphasize that.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And then it jumps into Gesicht waking up from after having a nightmare, and then that leads into something. So, a little spoiler there for you.
Is it a big spoiler?
Kind of.
Episode 1?
I mean, why they named the series Pluto, right? So,
right.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's all foreshadow. How do you call it? I don't know what kind of way you could explain it, but yeah, Gesicht has these nightmares and then it's weird because he's a robot. How does a robot have nightmares? That's kind of unheard of. Even when he was being checked over by that scientist, I think what's it, Dr.
I don't have it written down.
His scientist that takes care of him. I forgot. Yeah, the guy with the weird short hair and glasses in the beginning. But anyways, so in the beginning, okay, you got Gesicht, and then he's an Europol investigator, and then he's investigating this murder that happened, and everyone's like, okay, who would kill this scientist guy that helps promote, the welfare of robots? Like, could it have been another person? But there's no signs of intrusion. There's nothing. So, like, could have been a robot, but robots can't kill because it's in their laws or whatever of how they're created.
Yeah, it's implied some law was created 8 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
Robots can't kill humans.
Yep. And then it's like, okay, well, actually, all throughout that beginning part, I still didn't know that Gesicht was a robot. Did you guys know?
I think it was meant to be a surprise.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was. Because it wasn't until, like, that scene when they had to investigate, like, I guess another robot constable was attacked along with his human partner we find out by some druggie that was trying to escape. And then he Gesicht literally jumps off the bridge in order to pursue the suspect.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
That's what gave it away.
Yeah. That was the first clue. It's like, okay, maybe this guy's superhuman. I thought at first. And then as soon as he enters that like abandoned building, I don't know, was it church or building? Some kind of building,
It
right?
was like a church.
Yeah. And then like his left arm transforms into a weapon. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
This guy's like a pipe to the head and doesn't affect him.
Yeah. Okay. By the time that his arm transforms into a weapon, I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's a robot or something. Android, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, okay. And then he interrogates that or tries to calm down that suspect. I mean, that druggie guy.
Yeah.
And then the druggie tries to attack him and then, hits him with that same metal pipe that destroyed the other robot. And it doesn't phase Gesicht at all. Yeah. They're for sure that vitalized, he's a robot. Mm-hmm. So, oh man. So That part was.
And then if you see on the screen here, this is where we. Sorry, we have it playing in the background.
Oh yeah,
but this is the next scene, I think. Right? He goes to the wife.
That's right. The wife of the
robot
constable
wife,
robot.
The constable, yeah.
Yeah, which I find interesting that these robots have spouses.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off in the beginning, because when Gesicht woke up from his nightmare, and then his wife was like tending to him, I was like, oh, okay, it's a normal person like anyone else. But then in this world, you're seeing that, oh man, robots live these kind of normal human lives, and they have spouses.
Yeah,
like the one that we're seeing on screen right now. The spouse, the wife of the constable robot who passed away. And it's like they have feelings too, even though they're robots, they still have feelings about loss. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's going to be an underlying theme in this thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured.
So going on from there, I don't know. Raymond, if you had more thoughts on this beginning part.
No, and who does he visit? He goes to some like robot prison.
Oh, yeah.
And he visits
Brow 1589.
The only other previous killing of a human was done by this brown guy.
Yes.
This brown robot.
So this relates to the scientist murder, because they weren't sure if it was a human or if it was a robot. So Gesicht goes to the only known, quote unquote, known robot that killed a human. And that was this character or robot named Brow 1589 or something like that.
Yeah.
And pretty much ask him, like, what basically, how can a robot kill a human, despite the rules or like laws or how, however they were structured, like how are they able to if they aren't supposed to? So he was trying to get that out of him. Kind of like
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It kind of like a Silence of the Lambs kind of setting when like Clarice, But yeah. Actually go any more you can spend on?
No, I can't.
Okay, well, Raymond, that answers your question, I hope.
What was my question?
About who he visited.
Oh yeah. I just forgot briefly. Yeah. And then I think that's when we cut to the piano player, Sir Duncan, and his butler, North Number 2. Which, what do you guys think of that scene? The whole second half of the show.
Yeah, I know I described it a little bit. So, it starts with that old man playing some song, right, on piano.
He's like a famous composer, but he has this song he really wants to write, and he can't quite figure it out. Mm-hmm. And it's tied to like some kind of trauma he had with his mom. And North Number 2 figured it out. Like he traveled to his hometown of Bohemia. I don't know, gathered some memories or talked to people or something, and came back. And kind of it's had all the answers for him, and he was able to complete a song.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start off with North Number 2. Why he's even there? North Number 2 comes in. He's the new replacement butler for Sir Duncan, because I guess he has a hard time keeping his butlers, that he has to keep having them hired on demand, or replaced. I mean, and then so you find out that North Number 2 was a former war robot, and he's just, he has feelings too. It's like, whoa, he is basically tired of having these memories or of the war, and he doesn't want to fight anymore. He somehow has this new passion of wanting to create music. So in the beginning, you see him trying to play the piano, only like one key at a time. And then Sir Duncan's like, what are you doing? Get away from there. Like getting so mad at him for touching his piano. And then the thing, like I mentioned earlier, Sir Duncan's like, you're just a robot. You have no feelings. You can't really feel or create, music or something like that.
I think he was he was sort of suffering from the same trauma as the old man. So he wanted to kind of fix his problem because he was relating to what the old man was going through.
Do you think he was... Are you talking about North Number 2?
I'm talking North Number 2.
Okay.
He had the trauma of... When you say war, it's implied there's like some big robot war that happened that established this international law of not killing humans. I don't know if that's expanded on next episode.
Not quite. I mean, I'm speaking because I've watched it already, but no, it's unrelated. It's two separate things.
So it's kind of vague. It's just a war happened.
Yep.
And this is why the rules are here.
Okay.
Yeah, North number 2 wasn't just any like veteran or anything. He was like, I remember Duncan asked him.
It's a flying spider robot.
Yeah, he asked him. So how many robots did you kill?
Right.
And he ignored North number 2 ignored the question. Mm-hmm. And later on they show him having flashbacks, and eventually he tells him he has, I think it was like several thousand robots. So he wasn't just any he was one of the 7 best robots.
That's right. I forgot. Did they show that in this episode, or was it later on?
They close it up.
Killing robots.
They close it up.
Yeah. Only reason I get confused because they also talk about with other characters later on. So, but with North number 2, yeah, I think. Oh, they showed he had nightmares too.
Yeah,
that was another.
I think that's why he was relating to the old guy.
Yeah,
because he would listen to this old man hum in his sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was experiencing the same kind of thing, so he wanted to help this guy's problems.
Oh, so they were connected. They were closer than. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the correlation I was trying to put is because Gesicht was also having nightmares, right, in his own kind of way, and then North number 2 was having nightmares in his own kind of way. Well, I mean, regards to the war. But then when he was up and he walked past Sir Duncan's bedroom and noticed him like humming and murmuring, and then the next morning he told him yeah, I noticed you were humming and murmuring, but it was more than that, right? It was some kind of hurt feeling, and then that's where you get that whole story.
He was humming the melody that was missing from his song. He tried to recreate it on the piano.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I just saw this, so
fresh on your mind.
I have some of the details memorized.
That's good. I mean, when he goes out and then he goes to North number 2, I mean, when he goes out to Bohemia and he figures out that, oh, this is an old folk song or something. And then I think it gets to Sir Duncan saying that, oh yeah, this is what his mom used to sing, right?
Yeah.
Trying to know, where does he go from there? At that point, you start seeing that their relation's starting to get closer. I mean, it was still kind of,
Well, I think that was a turning point for the old man.
Yes.
He said, I have some information for you, and your mom didn't betray you, or whatever. And yeah, I thought it worked. I thought they built up pretty nicely to that, because in the end, he explodes. He's humming before he dies or something. Some kind of.
Dang, you're really going fast. I was just getting to this part. Yeah. So from that moment, Sir Duncan opens up and he's able to open up. I guess he kind of opened up his heart to the robot instead of being this guy's oh, you're a robot, I have no feelings. It's all right, let me teach you how to play. It starts getting into that point. Okay, cool. So we're getting into.
Well, he dropped his prejudice of robots because he's a racist, right? They're
yeah.
He's copying he's modeled after a typical racist in a movie.
Okay, yeah,
right?
That's true. So in a different way, racist against
robots.
I don't know how you.
Well, I assume other robots are a race.
Yeah,
a race of robots.
That's true. At least in this sense, because they have feelings, they have spouses, so they're a whole other race that lives amongst the humans.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So from what I remember, North number 2 kept trying to play the piano, and Sir Duncan told him no, kept telling him no, and he was angry. And then he finally gave in. He said, "Fine, I'll teach you how, but you have to be out of here by tomorrow," or something like that. So he does teach him, and I guess North number 2 leaves for quite a while, and he leaves all his butler duties. You can see the plates stacking up in the kitchen sink, and all the stuff's getting all dirty. And then he does finally return, and that's when he says, "I traveled to where your mother was,
Bohemia,
and your mother really never left you. She was always around. She was watching you. It's just she found out that you hated her, and she wanted to stay away, knowing how much you hated her." And Sir Duncan,
she paid for the operation,
right, by being with that man. That's how she got the money funded, and that totally changed him. Until then, he hated everything about his mom. He bought that mansion or that place because in spite of his mom. He found out she died alone, all that.
Yeah.
Well, he's 90, so
right.
She can't be alive.
No, I know, but she died alone. She didn't die with anyone loving her or anything.
Yeah. So there's that whole underlying story there. Sir Duncan was he hated his mom because he felt like that she pretty much abandoned him. But then, like all stories go, she really didn't. She loved
There's another layer of tragedy here where he's a music writer, but he was losing his sight. So it's like he had to rush to learn as much as he could before his vision went away.
Oh, yeah, that's another part right there. Yeah.
It's a parallel with is it Beethoven? He's the deaf music composer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's probably where they got the idea from.
Because, that'd be pretty tough. If you can't see, you can still play. God, what?
Yeah, I guess
Charles.
he couldn't document his music, right? It has to be in his memory.
Yeah.
He can't. I don't know. I guess they couldn't make him go deaf because then he'd be signing to the robot and it wouldn't play as well, drama wise.
Yeah. Anyways, so we got that part going, and then we figure out that, all right, they get along. Okay, let's say from that point on, and then they start building this like kind of mentor-mentee relationship, with learning how to play piano and then trying to help each other's trauma, right?
Just friendship in general.
Yeah.
Like a driving Miss Daisy friendship.
And then all of a sudden, dark clouds start appearing, and then you just ominous music. Like, okay, something seems wrong. Like, I think this is the first time that you actually notice like something is happening. Like there's some evil presence that's occurring. I mean, you don't know it yet, but I think this episode or this series does a good job at portraying that. Okay, there's this big overarching evil presence that is going to get us into the long game. Oh, because North number 2 was like, all right, stay here. I'm going to go check this out. Then, he takes off his coat and a million arms comes out of him.
All his weapons come out.
Yeah. It's a Spider-Man with
legs pop off.
The spider suit.
And that's another small, I guess, sad part of the story is he had just finished writing the song. He's like, hey, let me play it for you now. Say, I'm ready to listen. Oh, wait, hold on. There's something dangerous outside. He didn't get to play it for him.
Oh, no, he didn't?
No.
I forgot that part. Yeah. He's playing that song, and it's like, oh, it's so beautiful.
It's like, I finally finished it. Hey, I want to play it for you. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
something bad's happening outside.
There's a storm coming in. That's not natural.
Let me pull out my 8 spider arms and fly up there and check it out.
Did he? And then when he flew up, did he drop his legs, or what dropped on the ground?
Yeah, looks like legs, I think.
Yeah, so he blasted out from his legs to fight whatever's on the sky.
I don't need these. I have 8 of them.
Yeah, well, if you have 8 legs,
I don't need
guess
10.
You don't need legs. You have all arms. Yeah, that's a trip. I was like, what the hell's up there that could fight and then like destroy him? I didn't think it was going to get to that point where they actually destroyed North number 2. I guess I should have figured, because the first robot Mont Blanc. And then this is a murder mystery. So, of course, first episode, then this character that we just kind of, it's good, but it's also bad because we were watching this episode and, building empathy for this robot and for Sir Duncan.
They dedicated like a whole 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, they better kill him.
The second half.
That's the payoff.
Us as a viewer, as an audience watching this and then building that relationship and empathy for this.
I assume we don't see the old man anymore.
Not really. No.
Yeah,
I think
that's episode 6.
Yeah, that's the end of his story.
Yeah,
basically.
so that's all that matters. It's like, we want to feel bad for this robot dying.
Mm-hmm. And I think they did that. They did that well.
Yeah.
They did a good job to portraying that for us. And man, I mean, it was good, but it also sucked because all that just for him to die. North number 2.
Yeah,
but but hey, that's how you build good story, right? I think.
Yeah, it worked for me. Yeah. I don't know. It could have been its own episode.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Just make these 2 half-hour episodes, but because I kind of forgot what happened in the first half.
Yeah, that's true.
It totally just shifted to a different location.
Yeah, so that was part of the problem I had with this episode or the series, because you're seeing one part and then it shifts, and then like I said, I thought I was watching a whole other episode, but then when I checked, I was like, oh no, it's still the first episode. But it totally felt like it could have been another episode. So if they broke it up, like, okay, episode 1, half an hour or whatever, then episode 2, this part, that would have probably been better.
And you said this show is slow overall. I don't know if they should have opened with this. Because this was a pretty slow story.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this
second half,
this adaptation, it is an adaptation of an actual episode off of Astro Boy,
Right.
which we could also talk about in a bit, which this whole Pluto series is based off of.
Yeah.
So it's not an exact copy of that episode, but it's
Well, of course.
yeah, of course,
It's like a serious or a more violent take.
yeah, more violent. It's reimagining of
Yeah.
these episodes and then turned into a whole series.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool in itself. Like just taking one part of an Astro Boy series, which goes on for I don't know how many seasons, and then being
it's just
able to
one.
expand it. It's just
I think it's just one season.
Okay, yeah. I've never watched Astro Boy. Like I said,
Me neither. I think was that recorded or was that not recorded? None of us
I
have
think we
watched.
talked about it in the beginning, did we?
Very briefly. Like none of us have seen like 1 second of an Astro Boy cartoon.
Yeah.
Well, we all know who the character is.
Yeah.
For some
Definitely
reason.
familiar. Yeah, I've because it's very familiar for me. Astro Boy, I've seen like on commercials, on lunch boxes, on different things. I've
Yeah.
seen it on different people have seen it. I just personally never seen it myself. But it's funny that it is widely recognizable without ever having watching it.
Yeah. I think part of it is, I don't know, when I watched anime for the first time in the early 90s, anime was very violent, very hypersexual, very forbidden, kind of, right? I'm thinking of Fist of the North Star, Ninja Scroll,
Ooh, Ninja
Akira. Those are, you never seen that kind of violence in cartoon form. Have you before the 90s, early 90s? No. That was the first time for me seeing that kind of adult animation, except for maybe Heavy Metal.
Batman, the
Metal.
animated series.
It's not the level of an Akira.
I know.
Like
but
the
yeah.
gore and the violence.
That's true. That's what I was used to watching. But yeah, you're totally right about those kinds of animes.
So for Astro Boy, it just I just dismissed it. It looked like a kid show.
Kind of was. Kind of is.
Well, based on the 4 episodes I watched of the 1980 series, not really. It's
Really?
kind of more. It's much better than I thought it was going to be, but we'll go into that once there's time.
Okay. So that is pretty much a recap of the whole first episode of the series. And I don't know. I think we're going to kind of discuss our thoughts on it, or how do you guys feel?
Do we go over why it's Pluto? Why they went with the? I think the killer leaves like horns on its victim's head, like
Right.
sticking out. I didn't see how North 2 actually his body was shown, but was there horns coming out? I'm pretty sure there was. But.
Oh, I don't remember.
I'm trying to
There's an
remember.
explosion in the sky.
So he hums when he dies in the air. He goes and flies and battles this.
like his corpse is flying down. I don't know if they ever
yeah.
cut to
And
it.
he was humming the tune of the song of the mother of what the mother was humming to.
No, but he stopped when he exploded.
Oh man.
Maybe more fighting, less singing, huh?
Come- Duncan goes, "Come home, my son," or "Come home, my boy."
He wasn't that great of a fighter.
He sings to him.
I mean, this non-spoiler for past episode 1, so you kind of don't get that connection or get it until later on.
Right.
So
Otherwise, you're like, "Why is this in this episode?"
yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the mystery of this. So that is also what I think is kind of its downfall. It's too much of a mystery. I mean, I get it. You're trying to save it for later on in the series to reveal everything that's going on. And they do a good job with that. I'll say they do. By the second half, I'll say I really started enjoying this anime. And
That's a 4-hour commitment before it gets good.
no, this is
Or
an
it gets
8-hour.
better.
Well, actually, yeah, because each episode is
like
about
1
1 hour.
Yeah. A lot of animes are like that, though.
Yeah.
They're slow.
Yeah, I was talking to another coworker of mine. He said like a lot of animes, they have like this like just story build up in the beginning. And then later on, it's just when it starts like ramping up and then like, oh, shit goes crazy.
We have examples. Cowboy Bebop. That's a great first episode.
That was really good.
Um,
What about Dragon Ball Z?
I don't like Dragon Ball Z. I'm sorry.
Don't like Dragon Ball Z?
It's
man.
way too much filler.
You have other slow build up examples? I mean, Cowboy Bebop.
I'm thinking of like the stuff I saw like on Cartoon Network.
Only one that I mentioned,
Sailor
like
Moon.
Breaking Bad. But
Oh, it's not talking about anime.
yeah, but in regards to anime, but I think it doesn't matter if it's anime or whatever. I think it's just a show in general, like a story in general. It can have a slow build up, but then the payoff is rewarding if you keep with it. So I think that's kind of what I'm trying to go at in here. I'm not sure.
Oh, no, I thought I was just trying to think of examples of anime that have slow, that are not
Slow.
have that don't start slow.
Okay.
That kind of just jump in.
Oh, some stuff that doesn't start slow?
Yeah, that doesn't follow that
Oh,
rule.
dude, stuff that doesn't
That's why I
slow.
said Cowboy Bebop.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
I haven't seen
All the
that.
current. Pretty much if you watch current anime, their styles now is like, it just jumps straight into action.
This is current anime.
My Hero Academia. Pluto, I mean, Pluto is not, it's not considered really current because this is based off a manga that happened, what?
Not that long
2000.
ago.
How long ago? It's still,
2013, 2014.
Pluto came out in what, 2002?
yeah.
Am I way off?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about
Sounds
all
recent to
that,
me.
it's a reimagining, but it's based still on Astro Boy series.
You're talking about the source material.
Yeah, the source
like
material is
the
even
60s.
older. Yeah, exactly. It goes far back as the 60s.
Yeah.
And that's where it originated from. So it's a reimagining that's like more recent, but it's still based off old anime.
Well, I will say the Astro Boy I watched much faster. The episodes they move much quicker in terms of storytelling and pacing.
Yeah, true.
At least the 1980 cartoon that I watched.
That's true. Like the more and more it gets more recent, then the more it like just jumps straight into the action. That's why I mentioned,
attention
like-
spans are getting smaller.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, yeah, I think so. Because, like I said, I admit this first episode of Pluto, it's kind of swaying me at first to not watch it, but because I was committed, then I continued.
Also, this didn't work for you. This first episode.
Yeah, this first episode, it was a tough sell, honestly. For me, it's like I had to take a second viewing at least to appreciate it. And
I guess technically saying I fell asleep.
yeah, because the first viewing is just like, oh man, this is just dragging. Especially when you see that it's an hour long. I was like, come on. And then it's like halfway through, it switches stories on you. I'm like, what? Yeah, you could just. I think if they really like cut it in half, just the first part, and then make this the North number 2, the second episode, 30-minute episodes, whatever, then yeah, it's easier to digest instead of like, sitting there for the 1 hour trying to finish off this episode. Because like for me, I'm the kind of guy that like I want to complete an episode as much as possible from beginning to end, and then I don't like just stopping in the middle of an episode and then continuing on, because it just breaks the continuation for me. And then I'm like, oh man, do I start over or do I try to remember what happened in the episode?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Marky?
No, yeah, it was they were it was like they were broken up into they broke up each character's story. It felt like a movie in itself.
So yeah, that's why. That's how I felt about it. Yeah. And again, without trying to spoil anything, like I didn't get an appreciation for this whole series maybe until like halfway through episode 3, episode 4. But like you mentioned, that's an hour an episode that I'm committing until I'm liking this. So for something that's about 8 or so hours long and in its entirety,
That's why I don't watch a lot of TV. 8 hours is a lot of time commitment. But I did like this first episode.
Yeah. Actually, based on the Soul series and what I've heard of what you like and watch, I think you're going to enjoy this. So we might have a difference of opinions as you keep watching these episodes.
We'd have to have a follow-up.
Yeah, are we gonna
episode
follow up
on
with
this,
this?
on this show?
We have to do a follow-up.
You have to stay fresh.
At episode 2, next podcast. I mean, that's honestly we'll probably have to get to. And then as we get to into each episode, then we'll start seeing the differences in how we feel about, this show.
I can do more than one episode the next week. I can do like two.
Okay. Then I could
Get to
rewatch
halfway.
and then remember what each one's about.
Well, we'll see. Did you guys like the show in general?
I
Did you
like
the show?
I like the first episode
Oh, yeah?
overall.
How about where you at now? Your 6 episodes. How do you like it?
I'm 6 in, but I'm gonna go back to 4, 5, and 6.
You're gonna
Watch
rewatch
those.
from 4?
Yeah,
Okay.
That sounds like off-putting to me.
I know.
So, I mean, I was a bit negative. What about you guys? You have some positive spins on how you felt about this episode in general, or
I'm totally positive on it.
okay,
I liked it.
yeah.
Just I get it's jarring, but I think a standout episode with a character who's not in future episodes probably wouldn't have made sense. Like a throwaway episode, like a filler. Oh, he's gonna show up in sometime in the future.
Who is?
North number 2?
North number 2? No, he's dead.
You talked about you talked about how it's 2 episodes smashed into one.
Yeah.
I felt that this Sir Duncan North number 2 episode were its own episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would just feel like a throwaway episode. Like it's not relevant to the overall story.
Like they're just gonna refer to it later. Like go back and do a flashback or something.
Do they? We don't see this old man anymore, right?
No, you don't see
I assume it's a one-off.
Spoiler.
I assume it's not going to see it anymore.
I mean, okay. As far as episodic consumption, to me, I feel like, okay, if it was a half-hour episode, another half hour on one story, and another half-hour episode on some Duncan story, it's easier to digest. But a 1 hour episode, that was what was giving me trouble, because yes, I understand how you think it might be feeling like a throwaway episode because you don't understand the story yet, but it does relate later on, mostly because of what's happening.
Because a robot was killed by...
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
there were
another
two
robot was
in
killed.
this episode.
2 in this episode.
Yeah, because you had Mont Blanc in the beginning, and then now you have North number 2.
Yeah.
And
Seven total.
when he busted out his clothes and saw all those arms, he's a formidable warrior. So that's not someone that could just die easily.
I'm going to assume all the other 7 robots, they're all very friendly to humans.
Yeah.
Like they're all sympathetic, because I remember they opened with Mont Blanc being killed, and everyone's crying because he was so nice. He was nice to kids.
There's a whole tribute to him because he was like this, I don't know, this pacifist, this guy who was just like trying to create a better world as a robot.
Yeah,
and,
but as a viewer, you don't experience any of that. You just see it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's what they try to do with North number 2. Like, we'll bring you in and kind of follow this guy's path, and so you can sympathize when we kill him.
Yeah. So in hindsight, I think it's good they did that because the pacing. Because if they tried to show Mont Blanc and then try to create like some empathy for him in the beginning, it's like, man, you're doing it twice in the same episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And then so just cutting to the part where he's destroyed already, and then figuring out later on like, oh, he was this great,
I think do it once to tell us, and then do it again, but bring us with you. I think that's kind of the goal with this episode.
Yeah. So in that part, I get it. It works in that way because, man, if they try to do something with like Mont Blanc's history or showing him before he got destroyed, I was like, man, I'd probably be over this episode.
Yeah, I also prefer a half hour. This was 30-minute episodes. It's probably more digestible.
Yeah. So and that's my whole part.
That's
That's
TV in general for me.
So that's why I wanted to get it. It would have been more digestible. It would have been like, okay, cool, 30 minutes, got it. 30 minutes, got it.
Yeah.
It's just this one story, got it. Now I can move on to the next story. Because basically, even when you get to the next episode 2, it's like, man, it's something else again.
Yeah.
So but I'm just talking about episode 1. So, or at least that's what we're talking about. So,
Yeah,
no, like I said, it was to me, I would have broken it up to between the 2 stories.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, really nothing.
Yeah. So I think that's how I feel about it. If we could have just had that, or just, think that, okay, after you see that part with Gesicht and that, murder robot, and then, it cuts to the piano man, just stop it there if you need to take a break, and then go back and revisit it when you're ready to watch another half hour of anime. I think that would make audiences or viewers watch it and have it more digestible.
So there's like 8 episodes. Would you have made it 9? Just cut this one in half? You could have added more material to the first half and then have that second half a separate
for
episode.
This first episode, for sure. But then you kind of need to leave on some kind of cliffhanger at the end of Gesicht and the murder robot, because there's really no ending to that. It just kind of
just cuts into the next one. Yeah.
So I get it. There was no real ending to that episode. The story with North number 2 does have like a beginning, middle, and end. So it's like a more complete story. Or I'll reframe it so that this could have been the episode to start with, and then have Mont Blanc on the next episode. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the first half wasn't like an entire story on its own. You needed the second half to like have a complete story.
I assume the first half is just to establish like the world they're in.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like world building. It's
Yeah.
story building. So yeah, I get that. But then it just extends it just too long for me, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess I'll watch one more episode and.
But then, so you liked it, Raymond, right?
Yeah.
So you have positive. Is there anything that you would have changed? Is something that you would have thought that could have made it even better, or were you just completely satisfied with the episode?
I feel like I would just for one. I only know. I only know so much. I've only seen one episode,
Oh yeah, that's fine.
so I don't know.
But based on this one, which is actually perfect because you're not skewed by knowing what happens next, like I am. So
Well, I like the second half. The first half a little scattered, I think. But I get that's world building, and I assume a lot of that stuff gets clarified later on in future episodes. It's hard for me to to critique it from just what little I've seen.
okay,
Yeah.
No,
I think
sure.
it's a little scattered, and I guess if it's for a first time viewer, yeah, I could see falling off. Yeah, it's too much going on, and I don't want to watch anymore.
But then for you, it was fine. Like you are interested in continuing.
Yeah,
the series,
I had
right?
enough patience, so
Yeah.
I can probably try another episode. I think they're shorter too. It's not over 60 minutes. It's like 58.
Yeah, yeah, generally an hour. So, yeah,
This one was an hour and 70 minutes. Oh, yeah, sorry,
No.
hour and 10 minutes.
yeah. More like that. So, I mean, I don't know how much on we have to keep going on about the episode, but
Yeah.
For
Sorry,
one
it's,
one
we're
episode.
stretching it so thin. It's just 1 hour.
I know we're just sharing our thoughts there. So, I mean, that's mostly what I got. Other things we could talk about is just like, okay,
Like I haven't read the manga. I don't know anything about Astro Boy.
Oh, right.
This
Oh,
was my introduction to
yeah.
this universe.
I have a trivia.
oh,
So, because we know so little about this, Osamu Is Osamu? I got it.
Tezuka.
Yeah, his first name, Osamu Tezuka. Nickname, he has 3 nicknames.
Osamu Tezuka.
The
Yeah.
Godfather.
The Godfather of manga, the Father of manga, and the God of manga. My favorite nickname. Also, the 14th best-selling manga series of all time, which is ahead of Fist of the North Star, Ranma 1/2. For reference, One Piece is the best-selling manga of all time, like significantly, like it's almost double whatever's in second place, which I didn't write down.
I mean, with 1,000 episodes, you know.
Oh, this is manga.
Yeah. Well, that's been going on for 20 years.
Yeah.
So that would attribute to it.
Dragon Ball is in 4th.
Isn't like there a Muscle Man? Muscle Man's like the longest running one. One of them is.
Which one?
Oh, I didn't write that down.
Oh yeah.
Which
Never
one?
mind it. Like Muscle Man or you know that wrestling based anime or manga. It's like the longest running.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay.
But I'm not big on anime
Yeah,
and
me
manga.
neither,
Like
but
I watch a lot of it.
I saw a chart with it.
And in a way, I feel like I feel like we should be bigger anime fans because I love a lot of animation in anime. But I don't know, something about the storytelling, it kind of puts me off sometimes. There's a lot of exposition in a lot of these shows where there's like a character who describes what's going on in front of him or her. You know what I'm talking about? It's kind of a common trope in.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Hope I'm
anime.
not upsetting the fans here, but the storytelling is just different. It's kind of off-putting. But in the lead up to Pluto, I actually watched Astro Boy cartoon from 1980,
Oh,
which is the second cartoon. They had one in the 60s. I'm off, Mike. They had one in the 60s, they had one in 1980, and they had one in 2003, which is probably the better one. But all the stuff we were talking about, like this allegory for like minority rights, it's in that cartoon that we dismissed as a kid's cartoon. Like I'm just gonna jump to the end. I saw 4 episodes. In the 4th episode, Astro Boy goes to school, and they're voting for class president. And these kids don't want him to vote because he's not human. So they say his vote shouldn't count. So that's already a kind of a on the nose
gotcha. Yeah.
kind of. And this is a kids show, and I regret, dismissing it because the stuff they cover in the past was like slave labor. Do you guys know the origin of Astro Boy? I think it's the same in all the cartoons. So Astro Boy is his dad is the guy who created him. He got in an argument with his son. His son gets in a car accident and dies. So he builds Astro Boy, modeled after his son. And but I guess he works for the government, so Astro Boy has superpowers for some reason. And then he's trying to raise him like a regular boy, and they're trying to hide from the government. But Astro Boy, he struggles to be a normal kid, so his dad yells at him, like at a dinner party. Astro Boy kind of wanders off, and he gets kidnapped. And his dad's like looking for him, and he never finds him. And I read in the Wikipedia, that's like the last we see his dad. Like, he never finds his son.
Oh, man.
Astro Boy gets kidnapped, and he gets found and rescued, but yeah, and that's sad. That's tragic, and I think this show Pluto, it's not too far off from what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a reimagining of it. I mean, instead of Astro Boy, you find later on, it's not a spoiler because you see at the end of the first episode, you see a boy named Adam. Gesicht goes up and starts talking to this boy. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Why is he talking to this kid? But then later on, you find out this is Adam.
Yeah.
He's basically Astro Boy in the series.
I assumed it was
Yeah.
the big reveal. Yeah.
And it's right for the end. Like, surprise. Yeah. So that's cool. Nice. That's a good tidbit about Astro Boy. I mean,
yeah, I recommend it. Watch the show. It's free. It's on YouTube. He showed me all 51 episodes.
All 51 episodes.
all 51.
Yeah.
I'll probably be.
And they're like 20 minutes each. You can.
Oh, there. Digestible.
Yeah, digestible.
There. All right.
I will warn you, it's bad dubbing. You know, it's that old style 80s. Kind of campy. They spend a lot of time on like kid jokes and get away from the serious stuff. But get past that, it's surprisingly very good.
Are you focusing on the 80s series or?
Yeah, because Tezuka died in 1989. So I figure I'll watch the one he was alive for.
Oh.
03, it was not made by him. He was not around. But it's probably the better one. It's more modern.
Gotcha. So I know there's recent 2000 ones. And then there's also that movie. I've seen clips of it, but I have never watched it. The CG movie.
It doesn't look appealing. I'd have to.
I think that one's made more modernized, right? Or something.
I think it's made by like an American company, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's not really animation. It's American animation.
It was surprising to see that you don't see American or Japanese, Japanese
manga,
cartoons
anime.
or comic book characters made for American audiences by American companies.
At least not that far back, because that was early 2000s. It's becoming more prevalent now.
The Pokemon's
one. I mean, yeah, it's something from back then. But I mean, what's it called? Like American adaptations of Japanese content. You know, like all the stuff that Netflix is getting, burned for. Like when they did, what was the first one they did?
Note?
Death Note. Oh man, the Netflix American live action one,
right?
One Piece.
Well, no, that's different. That's One Piece was something that I guess a lot of people were saying finally broke the curse. They broke the curse of the live action American adaptation or live action adaptation in general.
I mean, it's just an example of an American, adaptation of.
But then, to be fair, it's not really an American adaptation because the Oda, the creator of One Piece, was heavily involved in creation of the One Piece live action. So,
well, the creator of Cowboy Bebop was involved in the live action.
He was?
Yeah, I don't know how heavily. I guess not so much.
Well, I mean, yeah, Cowboy Bebop live action, that got a lot. I personally didn't like it that much, but I don't think it deserved the hate that it got. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was all right, but I didn't think it was terrible. Like it just, from reviews that I've seen at least, generally, it's just.
I watched the whole thing. I liked it, but it's pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
I liked it enough.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just like the pacing, the scripting, or like just
the writing.
Comic. Yeah.
Very Joss Whedon. Everyone has to have Tony Stark or Tony Snark commentary.
Oh, man.
Or dialogue.
All right. So that's
all I have on my notes.
Yeah. Marqui, anything to add there?
Nothing.
All right. So that's our take. I mean, just recapping everything here. We talked about Pluto, which is an anime on Netflix that recently came out within this past, a month ago.
Late October.
Yeah, like about October. And loosely based on the Astro Boy series, which is a long-running, well, it's not long-running, but it's been in existence since the 60s, essentially. Manga turned into anime, and then all bunch of different adaptations, into the 80s, into the 2000s. And actually, I think there's even more adaptations of it.
I think there's another one that was announced. This will be a fourth adaptation.
Yeah, I even saw another one that's like called Go Go Astro Boy or something like that. Have you seen that one?
I think I saw that in my Google search. I didn't quite click on it.
Yeah, I saw a little clip of it. It's like, whoa, it's like a little kiddie version
like
of Astro Boy. Yeah. So, but I'll tell you this. Episode 1, if we're just focusing on episode 1, it's a tough sell for me. Only because of the length of the episode and like the pacing of the episode. But after a second viewing, and actually after watching the series in its entirety, I've learned to actually appreciate it because of how they paced it compared to the whole series. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. But if I'm thinking I'm a new viewer, you have to kind of commit to it before. All I'm saying is that don't dismiss it just because of the first episode or even the second episode. I think you'd have to maybe get to the third episode at least, and then you get there.
Yeah.
So
I still hung up around the third episode as well, though. So
yeah, no, for me, it took the fourth episode. Honestly,
that's kind of a hard sell for most viewers,
and that's a hard sell for a lot of people because that's.
So I will say it's reviewing very well.
Yeah,
this is really people are really positive on this show. You guys read the same thing, like general anime fan reviews or.
I haven't seen. You know what? That brings me to a point because last episode you accused me of agreeing with Rotten Tomatoes. So
accused.
I mean, you're partially right. There's a lot of things. So as we're talking about it, let me just pull up Rotten Tomatoes.
So Pluto?
On Pluto, yeah.
That you don't always agree with whatever the
with Rotten
critics.
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Man. So
all right, part 2. Ding ding.
Rotten Tomatoes, Pluto, 2023. Let's see, pulling up. Season 1.
How did it review?
It only has 4 on critics and 50 plus on audience. There's no critic review on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. So premiere date October 26th. So it's fairly recent. There are 4 critic reviews.
I guess that's not enough.
But it's not enough.
But who are they?
IGN, Polygon, Espinoff, and Paste Magazine. They all gave it good ratings, high ratings, honestly.
Don't you follow IGN? No, Marqui? You're off mic.
I know.
IGN, gaming website turned into a movie review, I guess. And an audience score, 50 plus ratings, 98%. So yeah, I mean, what you said is right. They do have a very positive for the series.
I think it's the Google search.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there another rating with audience scores? Critics. Little
Sorry,
cut
we'll cut that.
Yeah. So we're looking into Rotten Tomato scores, and the positives are coming from 4 different reviewers, like I mentioned: IGN, Polygon, Espinoff, and Paste Magazine, and they're all positive. They're all basically giving it high scores, whether it's like 5 out of 5 or 90-something%, basically. And then same with audience scores, 50 plus ratings, giving it a total 98%. So it's all positive. Yeah. So Raymond's right about it being, rating high.
Well,
but then at the same time, it's not really enough ratings.
Yeah. We can't say for sure on this one.
Exactly. So for me,
I don't trust fan reviews.
Oh yeah, I remember you
it's
making
all
that point.
It's all audience.
Yeah, and I'm like the kind of the opposite. Like I'm critical of critic reviews based on how the audience reviews it. Oh, another thing. I figured out that when you check the ratings that they have, for audience score, if it's a movie, then they have to have proof that they got a ticket.
That's a recent thing they added, though.
Yeah. So that's a change they did for audience scores. But for a TV show, they don't.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Because there's no way of knowing whether someone's watched it or not. So there's no way of doing it.
Yeah. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. That's what we got. So as far as I can tell, it does have positive reviews. Overall, I probably would. But if I was someone new, just like, okay, I'm not that big into anime. I'm just a general casual TV viewer. Man, I don't know. First episode, I'm trying to think, like, what's the first episode that really hooked you and got you into a series? Can you guys think of one?
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop?
Cowboy Bebop.
Wow.
Round one half.
I haven't seen that.
Let's see. As far as the anime or as far as a general show?
Well, you're asking the question.
Yeah. I'm going to cut that out. Or not. Just kidding. Again, Pluto, hard sell on just the first episode by itself. But in its entirety, yes, I would give it a positive score. And yeah, that just depends on people's willingness to commit. So
yeah, I don't even know. This is a good to introduce someone to anime. I don't know. This is a good option for them. It doesn't really fit the trope of an anime series
because this is
the first episode.
Yeah, it's a murder mystery. It's not your typical like hack and slash, like action anime, or fighting anime. Like anime in my mind is like, okay, it's like robot mechs, like big action scenes.
I don't even like those kinds of anime.
Yeah,
that's a genre of anime.
Yeah,
like you're talking about Gundam or
Gundam or any other variation of it.
Evangelion.
Oh, and just
these are like 90s. Yeah. I have like a huge gap in my.
Or even like what's the most popular ones in my mind, at least when I grew up, was Naruto, and Bleach. And you ever watch those? Oh my gosh!
I fell off at that point.
Damn,
that's kind of like 2000s, right?
Mm-hmm. Or even like you freaking Initial D. You ever watch Initial D, the anime?
I watched a little bit. I didn't. It wasn't one of my.
Yeah, and that's about cars, man. Like cars going drifting.
Yeah.
So I'm putting those out because those are something that actually had like first episodes that really hooked me in, and it got straight into whatever action it was. Whether it was Bleach, it's like these monsters that are killing people, and he becomes this Soul Reaper. That's Ichigo for Bleach.
You should try Legend of the Overfiend.
Legend of Overfiend. Never heard of that.
I think it's late 80s. Remember the year?
I don't.
You're a big fan.
What is it?
Legend of the Overfiend.
I've never seen it.
Oh, I thought you're a big fan.
Also, like I had a coworker recommend me Sword Art Online.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Have you seen Gundam Thunderbolt? There's like 2 sets. That's really good. That'll catch you. Okay. That'll capture you in the first episode.
Or what's that one you keep telling me about?
Which one? Overlord?
No. Spriggan.
Yeah, that's on Netflix. That's I guess.
Is that a movie?
It's a readaptation, I guess, for the Netflix of original series in the 90s. Yeah.
See, so I had to get into that.
Golgo 13. I remember that.
Oh, you know what? Actually, what anime I'm excited to look for? Watch or anticipating, whatever.
Pluto season 2.
Nope.
I don't know.
Go Loser Rangers.
What?
You guys seen that?
No.
Oh my gosh.
If you can
only watch that. We're gonna have to watch the trailer and then tell these guys off air. But yeah, once that show comes out next year, I think they're definitely gonna have to watch that.
Netflix.
So, I don't know if it's on Netflix because it's gonna air in Japan first, obviously.
Oh, okay.
It's a brand new series, pretty awesome, at least from the trailer. So I don't know. I'm gonna end it there. We're kind of getting off on a tangent.
All right. Are we following up on episode 2?
I'll watch it on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get through the episode again, and we'll probably talk about it. But I think we're gonna expand on the next one. We're gonna talk about maybe stuff that we've seen, and by the time we get connect again, we're just gonna talk about everything we've seen up to then, including episode of Pluto, and see if Raymond.
I'll watch more than one episode.
Okay, cool. Then we'll see how long it takes you.
I don't know if I'm watching more than 2, but
yeah,
yeah.
We'll go there because recapping. It took me episode 4 to really get into Pluto.
That's a bad thing.
Marqui probably about the same. Yeah. Raymond, he liked the 1 first, so different kind of 2 to 1 this time in a different way. So there you go, folks. Raymond, Marqui, thanks for hopping on and chat.
Yeah, thanks for having us again.
Thank you for having us.
For sure, you guys get regulars. So, anyways, that is our discussion on Pluto, episode 1 primarily. And yeah, we're going to come back again. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed listening to us talk, and I hope you enjoyed listening to our podcast. So until next time, have a fantastic day. Hey guys, thanks for listening to our show. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback for us, we greatly appreciate that. if you can send us an email to worktimefunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a message at X, formerly known as Twitter, and our handle is @worktimefunpod. Thanks again.